Today I will be telling the story of the Loch Ness Monster, otherwise known as Nessie. This all took place in Scotland in the Highlands, and is where the Loch Ness, a large, deep, freshwater loch, is found. It extends for approximately 37 kilometers. The first recorded sighting of this monster is in 565 AD and is said to be deep in the waters of the Loch Ness. It is reported that the monster ate a servant before being forced back into the waters by his master, Saint Columba. Over the years, more rumors spread far and wide of other such strange events at the Loch Ness. These ancient Scottish myths about such water creatures contributed to the notion of a creature living in the depths of the Loch Ness. Although this monster has been seen again, it has never again hurt a human. Later on, many years later, is when the monster becomes quite active and we see more of now what we know of as the Loch Ness Monster. April 1993 was when the construction began on the road that runs along the north shore of the loch. The work involved considerable drilling and blasting and is believed to be the disruption that forced the monster to awake. Also, later in April, it is reported that a couple saw what they described as a giant monster lurking in the water. The story about the monster made to local news on May 2nd, 1993. And later in May, the first photo of the sea monster came to the public. For the first time, someone was able to snap a picture of the monster when they saw it. It showed something in the water, a long neck with an arched, thick body. This photograph was taken by Hugh Gray. Although it was the first real photo, it was very blurry and argued to be tampered with. In December 1933, the Daily Mail commissioned Wetherell, a big game hunter, to locate the sea serpent. In April of 1934, it is announced another photograph has been taken of the Loch Ness Monster. It is shown in the Daily Mail on April 21st. This photo was taken by a surgeon named Robert Kenneth Wilson and is still known as the surgeon's photograph. This was the first time people really believed in the sea monster, as the picture was much clearer than the first. Almost 90 years later, and this photo is still a main piece of evidence that this monster was the Loch Ness. Although there will always be much controversy whether this monster really exists and if these pictures were tampered with or not. Later in 1994 it was proven that when the surgeon gave the photo to the media, it had been tampered with. But this does not mean that the Loch Ness Monster does not exist. Since then, many have tried to investigate the Loch Ness Monster and to locate the creature, but none were successful. In 1961, the Loch Ness Phenomena Investigation Bureau was formed and even 2 submarines were brought into the search. The Bureau organized camera watches on the loch and gathered data on sightings and other evidence. It was wound up in 1972 after ultimately failed to discover any substantial evidence for or against the existence of the monster. Although not all researchers were convinced the Loch Ness Monster was not real, they decided to conclude their investigation. Other small investigations included the sonar study, Robert Rhine study, Operation Deep Scan, and searching for the Loch Ness sea monster. A number of explanations have been suggested sightings of the creature, but there is probably no single explanation of this monster. Binns wrote 2 books, The Loch Ness Mystery Solved and The Loch Ness Mystery Reloaded. In these, he contends that an aspect of human psychology is the ability of the eye to see what it wants and expects to see. The Loch Ness Monster may be categorized as misidentifications of known animals, misidentifications of inanimate objects or effects, reinterpretations of Scottish folklore, a hoax, or an exotic species of large animals. So to this day, many have different opinions on the Loch Ness Monster, and it is unsure whether it will ever be confirmed.